Guys, today's guest has sung the national anthem on Fox and Friends, at NASCAR races, at NFL games, and all kinds of massive crowds across the country. He's also rocked out to crowds, radio stations, and venues across the country. This guy is making music with a message. Patriotic rocker Dave Bray is going to be on the Manlihood Mancast in just a minute, right after this.
Warning, applying these principles may change your life. People will look at you differently. You'll walk straighter, live bolder, and find out who you are. This is the Manlihood Mancast. Here's your host, Josh Hatcher.
Dave, it is great to have you here on the Manlihood Mancast. I am really enjoying the music you're putting out there. I enjoy your social media presence. It's really been kind of neat to see the way that you approach things with just about the right amount of testosterone. You know,
I hope it's enough. You know, some days I've been told some of my stuff is a little too real. Some of the music and some of the topics I touch are very heavy. You know what I mean? A lot of them are very, they deal with, law enforcement death, and they deal with, veteran suicide, and they deal with military, basically sacrifice and things like that. So a lot of the stuff I sing about is pretty heavy. So, like I said, it can make a grown man cry. And like I said, it's not 5 Finger Death Punch. It's real. And, so I appreciate it. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I think it's a message that needs to be heard. So you describe it as music with a mission. Why don't you tell me about that mission? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, man. So the album actually that we released a few years back was called Music on a Mission, and it was the first of its kind. It's a storyteller record, and I narrate my way through it. So you get to hear not just the music, you actually get to hear sort of some insight behind the songs. You get to hear almost as if you were sitting in a live show, right? So your musician on stage isn't just standing up there playing song after song after song. They talk to you and they interact with you, and they want you to feel what they were feeling when they wrote it, or they want to explain where they were mentally when they wrote it, or they want to tell you some background or history on the song. And that's what I did with Music on a Mission. So the whole album is narrated. And some of it's a history lesson. Some of it's, insight on me personally, and, some of my service. And some of it's just a perspective on where we are as a country. And and it's a really interesting listen. It could be its own 1 hour podcast if you actually sat down and listened to it front to back. So it's an interesting listen. It listens like a movie.
That's awesome. Tell me about, you were in the Navy, right? Am I correct in that assumption there?
Yeah, I was a Navy guy. So joined up with the Navy when I was like 17, and I was a year of delayed entry program. And that's basically when you're a senior in high school, you spend your nights, you go out to the recruiting station, and you PT some of the guys that are leaving. You PT with them. They teach you how to march a little bit, and they give you some insight on what basic's going to be like. And then, so I did that for a year, and joined up as a Dixie Cup Navy man. You know what I mean? Little Cracker Jack dude. Can I say that? I hope that's not a racist comment. I'm already off to a bad start. 1 minute into this thing, and I'm throwing the word cracker around like it's nothing. Okay. Anyway. Man, Dixie Cup Navy guy. And then like halfway through my first couple of years, I realized that the blue side, Navy really wasn't for me. I wanted to do something a little different. So I crossed over and became a combat medic for the Marine Corps, or a Naval Hospital Corpsman, or FMF doc, however you want to put it.
So you definitely were in a different setting, going from ship to shore? Were you doing more?
Yeah. So, first service was at a hospital. So I went through, my schools and everything. And then was just a regular, like I said, blue side corpsman. And that was like basically working at a hospital. I mean, anything that you can imagine. And even that wasn't for me. So I was transferred out, and I went with the EMS and the paramedics units, which gave me like an upper hand, I feel, as far as crossing over to the Marines, because it's all mobile medicine. You know what I mean? It's ambulances and it's more emergency medicine, more of the stuff that you would see in the field in a combat situation in some ways that you find with the Marine Corps. So that sort of bred me and got me ready for crossing over to the green side of the Navy and going out with the Marines. Yeah.
Yeah. How long did you serve?
I only did a 4-year stint, and it was basically in and out. I got out because I was having ankle issues, and I would still be in today. I wanted to do, when I signed up at 17, I was looking at 30. That's all I wanted. You know, my idea was to be 47 years old and retired. Yeah. And, you know, so I was loving going into the military is what I wanted to do. My dad was a Navy guy. My brother was a Navy guy, and I wanted to do that I wanted to be a lifer. And right before I went in, I had fractured an ankle, and I made it through basic and all the other schools and everything. But after a couple years of training with the Marines and some of the more intense training, like fast roping was one of the things, you know, at night, fast roping, you come down, you got to pinch on the bottom rope with your feet, like sort of faced inwards. And then I'd hit the ground and roll an ankle. And it was like, okay, that's a great way to start a training op. You know what I mean? So it just kept happening over and over again. And my weak ankle on the one side basically quit. And I ended up getting out and just going into the real world with a bad ankle. So now I actually just had a total ankle replacement. So a couple of weeks, or actually couple months ago. So I'm kind of recovering from that and going through the motions. But yeah, that's kind of my service.
Doesn't even sound like fun.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
So how did you get involved with music?
Well, music for me, you know, I started out as a listener, as a fan. You know, I didn't really have a ton of influence. Like my mom used to play a little bit of guitar, and I was in church choir and stuff. But I didn't have a ton of like music influence around me until high school hit. And that's when I really started getting into some bands and digging into music and realizing that I could actually not just sing church music and folk music, I could also rock. And I had a decent rock voice, and I was able to put some power behind it. And, you know, as a band, as a little garage band, we started out as, you know, doing Metallica and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and some screamo stuff, and just our own music and writing our own stuff. And it was something that I felt that was it enabled me to sort of get rid of some teenage angst at the time. And we had a decent little following where we were. So it was good. It was an interesting time. Obviously, right before the military, I was slated to go, and I was starting to create this band right before I left. And I kind of bailed on them to go into the military, and they were all kind of upset about that. But I ended up continuing writing the process with them and being musical even while I served. So it worked out.
So then you get out of the service and enter the real world. Yeah. Was the real world right away rock stardom for you, or how did that translate? Did it take a little bit?
It's funny. I can remember I was on stage in like a week or so. I want to say I was on a stage, and I might have only done like 1 or 2 cover songs with the band, but very soon after that, it became, you know, we were weekend warriors. We would play 1 gig a weekend, and then it was 2 gigs a weekend. And then it was maybe a gig during the night or during the week, and then 2 on the weekends. And then we were starting to travel. So we ended up opening up some doors for ourselves, and we thought we were doing pretty good. We sold 1,000 CDs, so we were pretty excited.
There you go.
Yeah, that was it. That's all you needed back then, right? So,
right.
You know, that was us. And then we decided, okay, well, we're super awesome here in Pennsylvania. Let's go to California. So we all packed up and moved to Cali and took a shot out there. It was a different world out there.
What was it like? Well, when you say different, I mean, obviously I'm a Pennsylvania boy, small town guy, born and bred. You know, what were the typical kind of?
Well, you know, Southern California is known for, you know, its music scene. It's known for a lot of what was coming out. Back in the day was a lot of the hip hop rock kind of stuff that was crossing over. Like the Korn and Limp Bizkit and that kind of stuff was still pretty heavy out there. You still had the Anaheim vibe with, Sublime, and you had some other really cool bands out there. Head PE was out there. Rooster was out there. Some of their lesser known bands. But you had some other big ones out there that were just, killing it. And for us to be, I always say that we were like, if you mix Pearl Jam for the first half of the song, added a sprinkle of Metallica through the middle, and then tacked on Rage Against the Machine at the end, then you would have what we were. It was interesting because every song was like 7 minutes, but it started out as this beautiful melodic thing that people, would be talking over. Then all of a sudden it would escalate to something heavier. And then at the end, the lid would just get blown off, and then people would just be gobsmacked. They were just like, holy cow, I can't believe this is the same band that started this song. And that was our approach, was to, draw people in, or sort of tickle you first, and then start digging our fingers into your armpits. And then at the end of it, we're just smashing you in the face. That was kind of the idea.
I'm a musician as well, and I know for me, music has really helped me to be able to express the emotions that I feel and the things I go through. I think a lot of times men are not emotionally available or really know how to express what it is they're feeling. Do you find that with you as well? Does that help you through that process?
Yeah, and in a way, I mean, there's a difference between just, sitting and writing music and then going out and performing it. People look at musicians, sometimes they're these, skinny cats, not a lot of muscle, but we just go out there and kind of do what we do. But what it comes down to, especially as a singer or performer, if you're actually standing up and performing, you're burning, 1,000 calories an hour. I mean, you're singing at the top of your lungs and giving all you can. Then you add a guitar, you add the actual performance piece to that, and you have another, couple hundred calories you got to burn through. So I was always kind of an athletic kid, basketball, wrestling, football, baseball, that kind of thing. And then the military coming out, I was in great shape. So I looked at it as exercising my demons, man. It was just like going to the gym for me. So our first rehearsal spot was on the top floor of this old steel barn. And it was, I'm telling you, no lie, it was 110 in there. And we would rehearse in there, just sweat, pouring out of our body. And we would just get it. And like I said, we were pretty high intensity back then. So again, it was you're exercising physically when you're performing or when you're actually playing with a group. And then you're also, when you're sitting and you're contemplating and you're trying to figure out what to write and how to put it together musically and make it all work and make it sort of fit what you're doing, you're exercising your mind as well. So whether it's emotional connection or just exercise, you know what I mean? As far as training goes, are you stagnant? Are you a swamp water, or are you a river that's flowing and just raging and just cleaning house as it's going through life? You know what I mean? So whether it's music or whether it's business or whether it's, family or whether it's church or faith or whether it's, whatever you're doing, how are you approaching it? Are you approaching it with, like I said, that stagnant black swamp water in your veins? Or are you approaching it with fire in your veins? And music for me has always been the thing that lit the fire up in my veins.
It reminds me of a social media post I saw you share recently. You're in the airport doing your calisthenics and your push-ups. Do you find that when you're on the road, is that something that you have to really carve out the space to do?
I have to do something every day. If I don't get my chunk, from the devil, then he's gonna take twice what I miss. So, again, like I said, when I exercise physically, I'm exercising mentally. It's not just getting down there and grunting and sweating. You know what I mean? I try to focus on the things I need to improve in life and just where I am in my life. And every day is a new chance to try to be a little bit better. Is every day a win? No. Is every other day a win? No. I mean, sometimes there's a week that the devil wins. But as soon as you decide to get back down on your face and push something out for the good Lord, then, you take back the reins and you start driving the truck again.
You've had some really cool opportunities with your music. You've been able to, be on national TV, things like that. What's probably one of your favorite experiences with that?
Well, there's a couple. one of my most recent ones was, I took the worship band that I play with every once in a while, and we went and did a Rod of Iron festival. And that was one of my first major full band experiences since my last project, which was Madison Rising. So it had been a couple years, and a lot of it was my original stuff, and a lot of my original stuff, again, on recordings isn't super heavy, but some of the grooves that we caught live on stage at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival last October. That's up in Pennsylvania, by the way. That's where Carr Firearms is, Pocono area, Bushkill. But a couple thousand people came out. Didn't really care about COVID. They were just there to have a good time. They wanted to feel something emotionally that you can't get online and you can't get at church, but they wanted to feel something else. And we gave them something else. We gave them that patriotism combined with faith. Prayer is great and worship is great. But we have a battle that we're in the middle of here in this country. And I feel like that's where I try to write from. I try to write from that battle place, that battlefield that's happening around us. That we see every single day on social. So I try to write from that place and try to steer people towards an element of hope and positivity. And when I saw that I could still do that with a full band, and not just through, recordings and, digital music and social media posts, when I realized that I had that spark still and was able to perform, that was probably one of the coolest things recently. So yeah, it was a good one.
Did you find that COVID made it difficult for you in doing what you do?
Yeah, man, because we lost probably maybe 40 live events that we had booked for the years, for between the time that COVID hit and everybody just hit the big giant red stop button in the sky. We probably lost about 40 dates. And for us, it was a scratch our head moment. My wife and I started studying for real estate exams, and we got 2 boys, 2 kids, so we don't have a lot put away to be able to just float through month after month after month after month after month. We had to start making moves. So yeah, we dug in and, like I said, started looking at different directions at how we were going to supply from and provide for our kids, and something that we could do on our own. So yeah, COVID not only pulled the carpet out, the rug went out, but like as my feet were going up in the air, like just completely knocked me, senseless, didn't even let me hit the ground. But that's every musician, man. That was every small business out there. And just like everybody else, we just dug in, found a way. That's when our online store really sprung up and got popular. So DaveBrayUSA.com started doing a lot more online business. And I wanted to be one of those guys that was like every night, doing some live music, but I did it a couple nights and I was like, you know what? I wasn't feeling it, and I didn't want to leave. I don't want people leaving with, I guess, a non-connective, thing. Like I wanted people to understand that my music means more to me, and I want it to mean as much to you, to deliver it in a way that I didn't feel was worthy of delivering it. So like me behind a cell phone camera, trying to go live and put out new music and try to have you feel it the way it needs to be felt, it just wasn't working for me. So I'm not I'm not that artist. You know what I mean? I keep telling people I'm just not that guy that does that kind of stuff.
There's nothing like being in a room and having people interact with you. When they like a line in your song and you hear somebody say, yeah, or you hear a clap or you see them getting into it or whatever. The little hearts on Facebook Live do not equate. And it's almost like when you're singing and you're able to interact with them, it makes the music better. Yeah. Okay, they're liking this. Let me push into that more. And you can't really get that online. I mean, like you said, there are some that maybe have been able to do some really neat stuff online, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of there's a couple like looper cats that did real good on the looping thing, and I can loop a little bit. I'm no magical looper though. So, and again, looping gets boring for me, even as a person to watch it. You know what I mean? Let me sit you and watch you make a whole song here, and then you start singing. I get it. There's an entertainment factor the first couple times you watch a looper do something really well, And then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. He's just doing it over and over again. So it just, yeah, man, like you said, the hearts don't equate to the raw emotions that you get from people, like the actual human vibe that is, you know, tangible in the room that you can create, and like everybody gets goosebumps at the same time. That's what I try to make sure people get from a Dave Bray show that I couldn't do online.
You talk about a war going on in our country, and I'll be honest with you, I feel like that every day. You know, when you just see the way that it feels like anything that pertains to a traditional American value is immediately painted in a bad light. What's your take on that? How do you think we can turn the tide on that?
Well, it's like have you ever been at a wedding when a 4-year-old grabs a microphone? So that's basically what I see is happening. And some people via social, and when a 4-year-old gets a wireless microphone and starts getting some attention, usually that 4-year-old will either drop the mic or they escalate it. And that is what I'm kind of seeing happen in this country, is like there's people that are nothing bigger than a 4-year-old at a wedding running around with a microphone and getting a lot of attention. And that attention is, some of it is good and some of it is bad. Some of it is provocative only to be provocative and has absolutely no other purpose other than to inflame and incite. And then some of it is like, oh, wow, you know what? I didn't think about that. You know what? You might be right. You might have a good point. But unfortunately, the good points are being, unvalidated or covered over by the inflammatory comments and the inflammatory people that are just doing it for, like I said, likes, comments, and shares. And that's what I see. That's where I see us right now, is these people get a whole bunch of attention, or this group gets a whole bunch of attention, and then a bunch of little, rats fall in behind that person, and they all start shouting the same thing, even though they don't understand what they're shouting for. I'll use one specific example. Okay, defund the police. Okay, if we're all being adults in the room, we all understand the importance of the police, right? We all understand how vital the law enforcement society is to the civility of our country. But if you are a sub-millennial or millennial or post-millennial, I don't even know what they call them, and your only interactions with police are what you've seen on TV and what you hear from the news, and you're judging the entire law enforcement community on that, or the entire protection of civility of mankind, or at least law enforcement in our country, you're judging the whole entire thing, which you might think is 20 guys in cop cars, or you might think is 1,000 guys in cop cars. Is literally, it's hundreds of thousands of men and women in uniform that are protecting us every day silently, that you don't see. Like, they don't understand that all these people are put in place very specifically to have us. And even online, we have law enforcement. So, like, to say, yeah, I want to defund the police, and then getting a platform large enough that the news or national news picks up on it, that's an issue for me. Like, I get really upset because these people are taking law enforcement officers out of schools, and where now they're a soft target, and that school becomes a soft target. And being a military guy, you learn to recognize some of these things. And when people see a void or a place where they can insert evil or damage or harm, they can find those cracks and crevices to hurt people in big ways. And that's why I get really upset about that battle that we are even thinking about or contemplating at this point in time in our nation's history. So, like, that's one, right? So there's 15 other ones that are just like that. And then there's other ones that are valid. You know what I mean? As far as climate change goes, I'm one of those people that believes weather is weather. But at the same time, there is a giant ass polar vortex at the North and South Pole, that if one sweeping arm or one band of it comes down, we all freeze to death in a matter of seconds. So, there's something to be said with trying to maybe stabilize global warming. But again, the whole globe's got to be in on the game. It can't just be us. We're a small part of that. So anyway, like I said, we have all these battles, but I don't think anybody really knows how to fix them.
It's when you talk about the the police and what's happening there. You know, unfortunately, you've got the 4-year-old with a mic complaining about it. And if there was an actual issue, which honestly, I think we can say there may be some issues that we need to look at, right? Like, why are you saying defund the police? Well, maybe there's this instance where there was racism, this instance where there was injustice. Okay, so let's deal with that instance instead of just blanket painting the whole community as bad, you know. And I think that's part of the problem that we're in, is the delivery that these folks are using has ended up invalidating what could have been a good discussion. I think we can't have discussions anymore. We just have to point fingers and blame. And, you know, but honestly,
well, I appreciate you putting it more succinctly than I could. I couldn't figure out how to get there, but yeah.
No,
yeah,
I know exactly what you meant. Yeah. You know, you said it well. Your analogy is perfect. You know, the little kid who, you know, doesn't get it.
Yeah. And then you have the mom on the mom's or on the wife's side is like, just give him what he wants. He wants an ice cream bar. And then the mom on the dad's side or on the husband's side is like, bring him over here so I can whoop on him for a good 15 minutes. That'll square his ass away. You know what I mean? There's that perspective, right? And that's what we have. We have the coddling group over here that says, well, let's just give everybody who complains loud enough and gets a big enough platform what they want. And then you have this side. It's like, no, let's whoop their asses and square it away and get the situation figured out so we can move on like adults to big boy problems that we have in this country. So, yeah.
How does your music and especially with the patriotic theme that you use and a lot of what you share, how do you think that's gonna speak into that space? Do you think people are resonating with it? And what kind of response do you get from it? Do you get a lot of haters, you know, the 4-year-old with a mic complaining about what you're doing, or do you think most people seem to be pretty open to it?
So I'm again, it's some of it's patriotic and some of it's faith based, and again, part of my mission is to bring those two together, those elements together, for people to have faith and respect, not just for their country but for each other. And the common denominator is each other as civilians, really. And again, getting back to the battles and the wars that are being waged out there, I respect those people that are trying to make change. Just my idea of making change is to, I guess, walk the walk a little bit, you know, try to get out there and affect things positively first with your message instead of negatively. I think that's an approach that many people overlook. Like, how can I change what's happening here? Or how can I change this country? What I've found instead of avoid is that people that never knew they needed my music inevitably have found it because they found themselves in situations where they've either lost faith or they have maybe lost a loved one, you know, to military service or you know, or law enforcement service, or they've lost a loved one to suicide. And sadly enough, is many of my fans, many of my followers are like family to me, because they will reach out and say, Dave, you know, your music, your words, your songs, I never knew about you, never knew who you were or what you were doing. But your music saved my life today. Thank you for that. And that person is no longer a fan. That person is a part of the mission. They're part of the spiritual movement that I believe can happen with music. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I chose to, you know, release Music on a Mission, the album. And that's why, you know, the next album that's going to be coming out, it's going to be kind of similar. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit different perspective on certain things. But the music is still going to have some of those undertones of patriotism, faith, and pushing buttons to hopefully push people to be better.
Dave, if you've got an opportunity now to speak to men that are listening to this, and we have men of all different stripes and kinds, but you know, fathers, husbands, leaders, what would you tell them if there's one thing that you want them to know that is important to you, that you think, hey, look, here's my opportunity to share this with you. There's one thing I want to tell you. What would it be?
Yeah, man. So you got men of all ages. So that means you do have fathers. If you're a father of a young kid, young man, young boy, young girl, I have 2 boys. They're 10 and 12. Actually, they're basically 11 and 13 now next month. So, be more than just a dad for them. There's never been a time when we've needed the male role model in the family or as a husband before in history as we do now. I know marriage is tough. As a husband, I'll speak to this. You're not going to win every fight. You're not going to win every battle. But if your wife is willing to gut it out with you, gut it out with her. And if she's not willing to gut it out with you, gut it out with her anyway. Because again, the family unit is more important than anything else that you have or anything else you'll be given when it comes to your time here on earth. As far as young men out there, build a foundation, base it on good virtues, truth, honesty, faith, respect for other people. Slow down. It's not all about you. If you don't have a family yet, you're going to find that out soon. And for older men out there, I would say, put in the time every day to like I said, get your chunk. I'm an older guy, 45 years old, halfway through life. Pick your battles, but battle the one that's trying to beat you every day. And that's, grandfather time, man. He's trying to take his chunk out of you every day. Try to win the day. Just try to win one day. And if you can battle through one day and win one victory of one day, you'll start to take your life back and you'll start to feel better and you'll start to get mentally stronger. And if that means you get down and you do some push-ups every single day, or you get down and go for a jog, or if you can't run, find something you can do physically so that you can keep your mental strength. Because the older I get, the more I'm realizing if I'm not physically strong, I am not mentally strong. So those, I guess, are the things. And I would be telling young men out there, old men out there, and married men out there.
I think that's amazing advice. I think it's really good.
Thanks.
Thank you, man. So anybody that's interested in your music, best place to go if they want to check out what you're doing and follow what you're doing, where should they go?
I hate sending people to Spotify because I can't stand the platform. But anywhere, man, actually I try to get people to go check out the videos because they're really well done. I've worked with some amazing videographers over the years. Minus Red they're a Christian videographer group. They did my Amazing Grace video, which is really stunning. Then I've worked with Alden Funkhauser and the Border Patrol to put together another amazing, videography video for my song Freedom Rings. And then I've done some more recent work with Curtis Boggs. He's another amazing videographer. And the last video we just did was for veteran homelessness and to spotlight that cause. Again, another battle, a real battle that we have in this country is, the border that's being overrun. And our government is writing $80 million checks a month. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. And meanwhile, we got 40,000 homeless veterans here in this country that we're not taking care of. And I'm sorry, but I think our veterans need to come first. And so the song Better Man is a video, or is a song that we did with Ray Cashcare. He's a Navy SEAL. He plays our homeless veteran. And we were trying to spotlight veteran homelessness and raise awareness. Like I said, start out with positivity and work your way from there. So we've got some bells ringing in that wheelhouse, city to city, that are looking to try to work on this veteran homelessness problem and get their mental health back in square one and get them back in check so we can reel in our brothers and sisters, basically, who never really truly came home. They're out on the streets. So go check out the YouTube page and check out the videos. They're great.
Awesome. And if you're not sure where to go, start probably Dave Bray USA is the website, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So it's DaveBrayUSA.com, DAVEB as in boy, RAYBRAY, USA.com. And there's all kinds of great support merchandise there. If you want to get involved with the mission, anything you buy on the site, I always send a free autographed CD with the Music on a Mission on it. So you'll get an autographed CD with any t-shirt you buy or whatever, you know what I mean? So if you buy a t-shirt, you'll get a free CD. It's just my way of saying thank you. And if you buy one CD, I'll send 2. Buy 4, I'll send you 8. I don't care. Like I said, it's all about getting it out there and getting the mission out there. And I want you to help me do that.
I really appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you sharing with our men, and I appreciate the work you're doing. I think you're doing good stuff. And I think supporting that is something that we all should be looking at. I think you're speaking to an audience that needs to hear it.
Cool. Well, again, thank you for having me on. I hope to come back on here in a couple months when the new record comes out, and we'll send that one out. Hopefully, you guys can play some of the songs along the way. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, holler at me when you get closer, and we'll set that up. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and God bless.
Hey, listen, if you appreciate what Dave Bray is doing, again, go to DaveBrayUSA.com. Dave is doing some phenomenal work, phenomenal music, awesome voice. This dude can rock. He can rock with the rest of them, and I love what he stands for, and I love what he's doing, because America is the greatest country that ever was, and I love supporting this country in the arts and the things that we create. So, Dave, way to go. Keep up the good work. We appreciate you. Men, if you want to support what we're doing at Manlihood, go to manlihood.com, and you'll see a place where it says Get Started. If you go there, you can get a free ebook. You can sign up for the Manlihood Man Cave. There's all kinds of stuff going on there, guys. Also, go to the Manlihood store at manlihood.com/store, where you can get some Manlihood t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now. You can get other Manlihood apparel and gear, and you can support what we're doing at Manlihood. We've got more resources coming there very soon, so make sure you please check out the Manlihood store. Guys, I appreciate you, I love you, and I care about you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
If you want to be a better man, check out our website, manlihood.com, for blogs, videos, and more from our Manlihood team. Men, you can also join our private Facebook group, Manlihood Man Cave, where you can meet up with a band of brothers who will challenge you and help you on your journey of manhood. This episode is produced by Hatcher Media for manlihood.com. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to the show. Tune in again for more of the Manlihood Mancast.